Hello Tactician, Professor Blab back again to bring you another video in the Fundamentals series, and today's topic is tempo. You've probably heard the term before, being on or off tempo, being in a high or a low tempo lobby, slamming an item for tempo, or playing a tempo comp. Players love to use the word, but what does it actually mean? And how do we actually apply it to improve our game of TFT? Well, in today's lesson, we'll cover the basics of what tempo means for TFT and how that affects the decisions you make in-game. Most importantly, we'll also look at what standard tempo looks like for the average TFT game and how that affects your leveling. So first off, what does tempo actually mean? Well, as the game goes on, more and more resources are added in the form of components, augments, and gold, and the power of the lobby naturally increases over time. How fast this power grows is tempo. Being ahead of lobby tempo means you're stronger than the rest of the lobby and winning a lot of fights. If you're behind tempo, hopefully by choice, you'll be losing quite a lot. But the worst place to be is somewhere in the middle. This is where you're likely to get that dreaded win-loss, which really messes up your econ by breaking streaks. Now, tempo would be easy if the lobby power gradually increased over time in a straight line, but that's actually not how it works. Instead, it tends to go up in small bursts, kind of like a step. Each step coincides with when resources are added. For example, during augment selection, the PvE rounds, and also carousels. These are when the power can spike and tempo increases. Additionally, because of gold interest, players will be hoarding their gold for econ and then spending it all in one round rather than slowly over time. You're probably wondering, that sounds great, but what do you expect me to do about it? Track 7 other players' boards and then just at a glance evaluate how strong each of them are to figure out the lobby tempo? That sounds like way too much work. And it is. Luckily, you don't have to do anything close to that until you're well up in the challenger brackets. It's actually much simpler than that. Turns out, the average TFT game follows a pretty similar tempo. If you understand that, you can use that as a baseline and make adjustments from there. So let's take a look at the standard tempo and how that translates to a recommended leveling pattern. Of course, we start our game in stage 2, but it happens that this is actually the most complicated part of the game as far as tempo is concerned because it can vary quite a bit. To keep things simple for this lesson, adjust your play based on your augment choice. If you picked a combat augment, you'll want to level to 4 right away on 2-1, and then level again to 5 after the carousel round. But if you picked an econ augment, try to focus on making 10 instead of leveling. That's definitely oversimplifying a bit, but stage 2 is so important, it will get its own dedicated lesson at a later date. For now, just follow that simple rule. Luckily, after stage 2, things get a bit more predictable. On 3-2, after picking your second augment, you'll typically want to level to 6. Then after the stage 3 carousel, if you have enough gold, you can go to level 7, but only do this if you don't drop below 32 gold. If you can't afford it, that might be a sign you need to work on your econ a bit or have picked an econ augment early. So for now, you'll just have to delay leveling until later and you might fall behind tempo for a little while. The final and most important inflection point, unsurprisingly, is on 4-2 after selecting your third augment. This is typically where players get to level 8 and spend a lot of their gold rolling down for their final board, which spikes lobby tempo significantly. The leveling pattern described here is typically called Fast 8 and is the default when playing around a 4-cost unit. If you want to learn how to level for reroll comps, make sure to check out the video dedicated to that. Now, if this is what you were doing for every single game of TFT, it'd get boring pretty fast, but luckily there's plenty of things that affect tempo that you need to learn to adapt to. One major thing that affects tempo are the opening encounters, which add a modifier for the lobby. Two in particular to be aware of are Prismatic Party, which makes all augments prismatic, and Scuttle Puddle or Crab Rave. Both of these pump a lot more resources into the game. With more resources available, not only do players hit their boards earlier than normal, but their final boards are stronger than you may be used to. If you don't adapt to this faster tempo, you'll find yourself quickly falling behind and taking unnecessary losses, ending up in the bottom 4. So as a general rule for high tempo lobbies, you'll want to greed less and avoid loss streaking as much as normal. Roll earlier and more often for your upgrades, slam items where it makes sense, and greed BIS items a little less. Certain set mechanics can also affect tempo. For example, in set 13 into the Arcane, the anomaly round increases the lobby tempo as units get more powerful. The existence of 6 costs also means that starting stage 5, tempo could suddenly spike if a player hit one in their shop. Because of this, it was much more important in that set to play in a way that saved HP. In set 14 Cyber City, hacks add a lot more gold into the game. This means the tempo is a little bit faster, with players often being able to level or roll down a little earlier than usual. It's not uncommon if you have good econ to roll down on 4-1 or even on the PvE round 3-7. Yet another thing that can affect tempo is your rank. If you watched my beginner video, you may remember a fast 8 leveling strategy which focused only on econ. In lower ranks, the average player isn't as good at econ, and they often leave a lot of components on their bench, both of which drop down the tempo of the lobbies pretty significantly. As you climb higher and higher in rank though, and players are getting better at spending their gold, making gold, and slamming their items, you'll notice the tempo gradually pick up. If you continue following the greedy econ strategy, you'll notice it becomes less and less effective, and more often you'll bleed into a bot 4. And that's where the more tempo-focused leveling strategy in this lesson comes in handy. Unfortunately, that's where the easy generalizations end. From here, you'll need to adapt to what is happening within each of your unique TFT games, evaluate the lobby tempo, and try to use that information to influence your decisions. If that sounds hard, well, it is, but hey, adapting to the ever-changing TFT lobby is one of the things that makes the game fun, wouldn't you say? There's plenty more we could talk about tempo, but that's where we're going to leave it for today. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like and comment below so your fellow tacticians can feel enlightened as well. Make sure to subscribe so you can be notified when new lessons become available. And don't forget to follow me on Twitch as well and watch me play live sometime. Until then, class dismissed.